What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here. Here's an episode of Backpack Classics where I talk about indie underground rap classics, albums that wouldn't get touched by dead end hip hop. And this is powered by my patrons, where I give you guys a couple of choices of albums that I've been listening to. And this month, Jedi Mind Tricks' sophomore album, Violent by Design, won. For those of you not in the know, Jedi Mind Tricks is a group from Philly consisting primarily of rapper Vinny Paz and Stoop, the Enemy of Mankind, on production. And the big deal about Violent by Design is it's the first album where Just Allah is added as a second rapper. And I remember when this came out because I was already a huge fan of their debut album, Psychosocial, and I couldn't wait for them to drop something new. And when this came out, man, this fucked my world up. Before we get going, you kind of have to understand where my interest in Jedi Mind Tricks came from. Vinny Paz was a mysterious dude who back then went by Icon the Verbal Hologram, and I was turned on to Jedi Mind Tricks through the Army of the Pharaohs 12-inch. My old roommate Scott, he put me onto it, and I thought the shit was incredibly dope. So I snatched up their debut album, Psychosocial, when it dropped, and I loved the mysterious, dark, and esoteric way they put the songs together, especially Icon's rhyming. I didn't know exactly what he was into, but there were songs about aliens and other conspiracy theories, and then some sort of like weird anti-Christian themes, so it was confusing and intriguing at the same time. So with Violent by Design, the album starts with Retaliation, a dope-ass beat from Stoop with these hard drums and this really cool string section that gives it an almost Asian feel, and then Just Allah comes in spitting. And it's interesting that Just Allah starts the album off because he wasn't on Psychosocial, so people weren't exactly familiar with him, but it was a great introduction. Feel no love, no way to shield the slugs, the ill thugs, we box with steel gloves, doubt my faith, you can taste the slug case, leaving niggas looking like dogs with the pug face. And Vinny Paz comes in nicely after this. Y'all better chill when the hologram build, little motherfuckers got hands that's like steel, whoever approached me and what I feel might find the legs being replaced by steel. Now there's a few things to take note of here. Vinny's rap style had changed. It was far more gangster than his previous stuff. It was a lot harder, but it was the line after this that really shocked me. Now y'all better yield or I'ma choke faggots. My hands held more razor blades than coke addicts. Now this was shocking to me because he never said anything like this before. I don't remember a single homophobic line on the previous album, so it was a bit disappointing. And one of the dope things about Psychosocial was there wasn't a plethora of sexist and homophobic lines on it, so it was really appealing to someone like me who wasn't into that type of shit. So this new kind of anti-gay Vinny Paz was a bit confusing, but I kept listening. The next song that caught my attention was the third track, Speech Cobras, and that's because it starts off with Mr. Liff, someone who I was already a big fan of, and his verse here is just crazy. Liff is still dope as fuck, but he doesn't really do these kind of mind-twisting verses like he used to do back in the day. I send you back to the earth's soil to quench the turmoil when the ground spits to swallow corporations and cops. Give birth to rocks so we can have solid ground on which to walk, stand strong and talk, and write down theories and chalk on the sidewalk. And Vinny Paz's verse here is crazy as well, but I really love this line. Open the gates of Midian for the fangs like the flesh, 3 cyborgs who bang like Ladesh. It's just such a hard line, but the Midian part is dope as fuck to me. Some Midianite priests were said to engage in cannibalistic orgies, so the fangs like the flesh line is just nuts. But now let's talk about my favorite jam on the whole album, and that's Death March with Esoteric and Virtuoso. Guys, this song is fucking nuts. That Undertaker intro, and then the beat is just raw. But Virtuoso's verse on here is just bananas. This is one of my favorite verses on the whole album. I'll strangle you, use those same hands to give you the Heimlich, so you can live to face more punishment from my divine lips. Jesus fucking Christ. What? Where is this guy, man? And Just Allah's verse was okay. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't Virtuoso's. But Vinny Paz's verse was kind of nice, though. Bring the gun, your tongue is what I'm slicing. We slap tracks and attack like M. Bison. Elohim, fuck the pagans, we mock them, and take turns to burn religious doctrines. Then Esoteric comes in, and his flow on this shit is just nasty the whole way through. Yo, I rip Myke stick lames, wreck knights, spit flames, lead pipe split frames, kid ain't shit changed. Hold up, here's another one. I bark at these, mark 'em C's, park and freeze, my words part the seas, kill beats like heart disease. Dude, Esoteric was so nasty on this shit. But and speaking of these guys, let's go ahead and talk about the Exertions remix. This was a song that was on the Army of the Pharaohs 12-inch that I spoke about earlier, but this is a sort of remix. It's just Vinny Paz, Bahamadia, Virtuoso, and Esoteric. And again, it's nasty, but I think I prefer the original beat a little bit more. But it's nice that on this remix they turned Bahamadia's vocals up, because on the original it just sounds like somebody mumbling in the background, but her verse is actually really dope. So I think they really did her justice here. Heavenly Divine, y'all, another crazy beat from Stoop, again with the kind of Asian sound with the hard drums, very reminiscent of something that RZA would have done. And Vinny Paz's verse here is dope as shit. Lawnmower Man, Sharp Blade slash your vitals, recitals will fight you and entice you to burn Bibles, homicidal, hologram burn churches, murders by sticking a crucifix through your cervix. Again with these kind of anti-Christian sentiments, but it's here that I kind of started to figure things out a bit. He says, you heard the verdict, I'm with the law because he chose me, broke into the Vatican and strangled the Pope with his rosary. So for the longest time, I just thought he was some weird dude who just didn't like Christians. But I see here that it's actually because of his Muslim faith. And you learn that a lot more as the album goes on. So throughout the album, I always felt that Just Allah was dope, but he kind of lagged behind Vinny Paz just a bit. But on the song Sacrifice, he comes through with a super dope verse. The grains of my fingerprints rub against mics like match flints, burn slow like Dutch master hits, enter trenches of arms, the paragon spawn, your body's carried and dropped like surrogate moms. The Deer Hunter is another really interesting song. The beat is a bit mellow but still really dope, and it starts off with this incredible verse from Philly rapper Chief Kamachi, who is also in Army of the Pharaohs. Candlelight death is extras, usually hollow point flesh presses until they skin caress stretches. I'm the best to finesse textures. My rhyme fabric is elaborate scrolls kept in a gold cabinet. This is such a dope song with a great beat. Great drums, again with the Asian vibe, very atmospheric, but it's always uncomfortable for me to listen to because of Vinny Paz's verse where he says, you ain't a ghetto thug, you an actress that's unnatural like love between faggots. I don't even like reading the shit out loud, to be honest. But it's worth here to note that I'm pretty sure that Vinny Paz has denied being homophobic, but the line about love between them being unnatural just feels like he's talking about gays here, when you consider the idea that many people, especially those who are very religious, think that two members of the same sex being in love is unnatural and wrong because it doesn't further the species in terms of procreation. But whether or not this is what Vinny Paz meant is total conjectures on my part because he hasn't explicitly said that. However, it still makes the song a bit awkward to listen to. So yeah, I could probably go on all day talking about this album. It's an incredible piece of raw street hip hop. It's part Wu-Tang, part Raz-Kaz, part hieroglyphics. Like, it had that street element, but also had this kind of soulful hip hop element. The MCs here are both really nice. The rhymes are graphic and detailed and delivered with precision here. I do, however, feel that Vinny Paz did edge Just Allah out when it comes to rap and presence here. Just Allah was cool, but Paz just had more quotables here. The features are all incredible. Even the worst feature here is still a good verse. Every beat here is dope. Stoop's beats are just as graphic and complex as the bars. Lots of string samples, voice samples, great combination of aggression and this ethereal element. Like, listen to Sacrifice, y'all. Like, that beat is nuts. Or Muerte. That beat is crazy. But overall, this is, to me, an underground hip-hop classic. When this dropped, it fucked up a lot of heads, man. As I said, people knew Jedi Mind Tricks as Vinny Paz / Icon, the verbal hologram, and Stoop, the enemy of mankind. But this was a new Jedi Mind Tricks, and it brought this different, dark, violent, and creative edge to underground hip-hop. So that's it. If you guys have heard this album, let me know what you think of it in the comment section down there. And if you want to be a part of the decision process of which album gets chosen to do one of these, make sure you become a patron. Alright, the link is down there. But as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright? Peace! Oops. Bitches!